What up, y'all? Welcome back. We're going to hit you again with this week's narrative. But before we do, Noah, hit that fucking intro. This week's narrative. You shouldn't be scared to spend your fab early in the season. Now, I've been playing fantasy football for only a couple of years, so I've kind of changed my approach and flip-flop back and forth a little bit. But for me personally, I used to be pretty outgoing with my fab early on because like the logic there was like getting someone for 16 games is much better than getting someone for 6 games down the line. But I think I've tailored it a little bit this week in particular, or this year in particular, because of COVID and the concerns there, where like I'm going to be a little bit more stingy with my fab early on, unless someone like James Robinson is available on the waiver wire, because starting running backs are hard to come by. But I think that there's going to be, the fucking hamstring sniper was out in full force this week, right? Like you're literally sniping hamstrings off of everyone.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
Business has been fucking booming for the last couple of months for the hamstring sniper, man.
Yeah, the hamstring snipers.
Everyone else is in a fucking depression right now. This guy's economy is through the fucking roof.
He's hitting all-time highs every single week. So I think that's going to continue. And then you're going to have your regular injuries that come by as well. And then you're going to have COVID. So like I think there's going to be some starting running backs that hit the waiver wire later on in the season. So that's why I'm kind of saving. But what is your approach? Like how are you guys approaching the waiver wire early on this year?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. Just because the whole COVID thing, like obviously no big players have been affected by it yet. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen later on in the season. But also on top of that, guys like Malcolm Brown and Nyheim Hines this week, those are two high priority waiver ads. You have to realize Cam Akers is behind Malcolm Brown. He's probably, as the season progresses, going to eat into his work. So that might not be somebody you want to spend 50 to 60 to 100% of your fab on. Same with Nyheim Hines. We talked about it in yesterday's video on Nick's channel and our channel, where Mike's not too high on him because he's a scat back, and also because Jonathan Taylor showed he can be used in the receiving game, and he was a high second-round pick. We know he's the better pure runner on this offense. So those are two guys that a lot of people are going to go out and probably overpay for this week. I'm completely fine letting somebody else pick up a scat back and Nyheim Hines. And I do like Malcolm Brown, but it's kind of hard to not see Cam Akers improving from his week one line. As far as James Robinson goes, though, he's somebody that I'm willing to spend a pretty decent penny on just because there is no competition there. He looked pretty good against a decent enough offense or defense in Indianapolis. And I think he is somebody that can profile as a real 3-down back and see work in the receiving game on a team that should be playing from behind pretty often. So that's how I feel about it. In the grand scheme of things, though, like I think this week, especially week one, there aren't too many people I'm blowing my budget on in the wide receiver pool, tight end pool, quarterback pool, defense, whatever. I think it's mostly just James Robinson and I guess Malcolm Brown if you need help early on.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in yesterday's Bunkbed breakdown video. For Dynasty specifically, I'm fine throwing most of my fab away like very early on because most of the waiver wire is super bare, and you'll find like the random guys that are actually going to have roles throughout the season very early on, and they won't be available because everyone rosters 28 to 30 people. So I'm cool with that. In redraft, I'm honestly fine using most of my budget pretty early on too. I'm not someone who needs to hold on to it. I will say though, like specifically for like a Nyheim Hines, I think there's kind of strategy behind it because there are going to be flashy players. Week one, we see a lot of blowout games one way or another, which leads to like crazy game scripts that are not going to be a normal thing. So if you're going to get really high on a guy specifically because their team's game script was perfect for them, like understand that you're probably getting too high on them and things are not going to go their way for the remainder of the season. They will have games like that. You won't be able to predict them, and most of the games won't be like that. So I think like we talked specifically about James Robinson, it seems like he's kind of going to be, I don't know if I want to say matchup proof, but he seems like he has a really, really solid role that he can't be game scripted out of. He's their running back. He's their running back one. With Nyheim Hines, this game was kind of perfect because we didn't expect them to trail, but they ended up trailing, right? And that dictates more Nyheim Hines. But what happens in the games they win? Does Nyheim Hines get more than 4 touches in the game? Like, we don't really know. That could be a JT 25 touch game. So I would say like strategy wise, like I'm fine. It makes sense for this year holding on to a little bit of budget because you never know what's going to happen with injuries and players not being conditioned and COVID and things like that. But overall, like I'm it's more like specific kind of player to player, and I'm fine. I won't be pissed if all my fab's gone by like the 4th week.
Not picking up Peyton Barber after the 27-17 win.
I am. I have Peyton Barber over all your boys, James Robinson, Naeem Hines.
Yeah, I think
greatest goal line back of our generation.
I think it also comes down to like your record, right? If you're sitting there like 0-3 or like 1-3, 0-4, like you're not saving your fab because you're trying to get whatever the fuck you can on your lineup to make a difference. But if you're sitting there pretty, you're kind of on track for playoffs. You're not worried. There's why I'm not spending in week 1 is because like you're not going to be 0-4 because it's not possible. Only 1 week's been played, so that's why I'm a little bit more conservative. So it comes down to record, comes down to player. But like if James Robinson's on there, fucking blow your fab and get him. Make sure you secure this guy because guys like that don't come along very often. And he's better than Leonard Fournette. It's already been confirmed. So make sure you guys get on him.
Rojo better than Leonard Fournette. James Robinson better than Leonard. Like, there's no one that's not better than Leonard Fournette at this point. It's out of control. I yelled before because Rashaan Evans just straight up after the play was dead just threw a haymaker at one of the Denver Broncos players.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, it made me jump. I was like, holy shit. It was just like full on like swing at him. A haymaker. It was awesome.
Like with his helmet on? I never understood when NFL players try and punch other dudes when they have their helmet on. Like, doesn't make sense.
It's with his helmet on. Like he definitely broke a couple fingers.
That's why Myles Garrett took Mason Rudolph's off.
Yeah, it's a smart guy right there.
At least he showed some respect for his fingers.
All
right, we good?
That's all we got for you guys this week. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you found it helpful. Good luck on those waivers. Good luck in your redraft leagues. Good luck in your dynasty leagues. Hope you're doing better than Noah's team because he's taking that up. All right. Catch you guys next week.